Smartphone manufacturers have been quite aggressive in the 10,000 rupee to 20,000 rupee price segment, and as a result, buyers have a lot of options to choose from. However, we cannot say the same thing about the next segment, that is 20,000 rupees to 30,000. Things are changing at the moment, and we have few manufacturers like Vivo, Oppo and HMD Global that have launched new smartphones. We have the Vivo V9, the Oppo F7 and the Nokia 7 Plus. So we've already gone ahead and compared the Vivo V9 to the Oppo F7 in our last comparison and found that the Oppo F7 is the one to pick. Now that the segment has a new smartphone, the Nokia 7 Plus, we pit it against the last competition's winner, the Oppo F7, to find which is the best smartphone under 30,000 rupees for you. Each of these smartphones have taken a different approach when it comes to design. The Nokia 7 Plus is made of a metal unibody design and it has a ceramic coating to give it a premium feel. The Oppo F7 on the other hand is made primarily out of plastic and well, it feels a little plasticky. The Nokia 7 Plus is heavy among the two, which could be down to its bigger 3800 mAh battery compared to the 3400 mAh battery on the Oppo F7. The 7 Plus feels premium among the two and the ceramic coating is smooth to the touch, but it isn't slippery. The Oppo F7 has a plastic back that feels a little cheap in comparison and it is prone to picking up scratches over time. The novelty of the Oppo F7 is the notch. Now the display is bigger and it has a 6.23-inch display compared to the 6-inch display on the Nokia 7 Plus, and it also has a different aspect ratio. As a result, it has a bigger display and thinner bezels all around. If you want a phone with a notch, the Oppo F7 can be your pick. But for us, the Nokia 7 Plus wins this segment as it feels like it is built to last. Now let's talk about specifications. The Nokia 7 Plus has a 6-inch display while the Oppo F7 has a 6.23-inch display, while both sport Full HD Plus resolutions. But we prefer the display on the Nokia 7 Plus as it has better brightness levels and is slightly vivid in comparison. HMD Global has used the Snapdragon 660 for the Nokia 7 Plus, and that makes it the first phone in India to sport this SoC. The phone gets 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. The Oppo F7 on the other hand has a MediaTek Helio P60 processor and gets 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. Now you have one other variant with the F7 that gets 6GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. But it is priced higher and there is a difference of 5,000 rupees between these two variants of the Oppo F7. Storage is expandable on both these phones, but the Nokia 7 Plus gets a hybrid SIM slot. As a result, you will have to let go of the second SIM to use a micro SD card. The Oppo F7 on the other hand has a dual SIM setup and a dedicated micro SD card slot. So you can use both the SIMs and the micro SD card at the same time. Both phones support 4G and VoLTE, but it's the Nokia 7 Plus that has better connectivity options. For example, it has Bluetooth 5 compared to the Bluetooth 4.2 and it also gets NFC. One thing that is missing on the Nokia 7 Plus is FM radio, and the Oppo F7 does get that. Now, if you do listen to FM radio quite often, well, that might just be the final thing that helps you make the decision. When it comes to software, Nokia has gone with Google's Android One program, whereas Oppo has stuck with its Color OS. Both devices run on Android Oreo, Android 8.1 to be precise, but Oppo has customized it with Color OS, which we think feels a little dated and it isn't very intuitive to use. At the same time, the Android One program helps the Nokia inch ahead as there is no bloatware and it's very fast in day-to-day use. We also got the latest security patch on the Nokia 7 Plus, and as the company has enrolled the Nokia 7 Plus in the Android One program, it will get updates for 2 years, whereas there is no such news for the Oppo F7. Overall then, when it comes to software, we prefer the Nokia 7 Plus to the Oppo F7. In our time with the Oppo F7, we found that it was quite fast compared to the Moto X4 and the Vivo V9. We were impressed with the performance. However, when the Nokia 7 Plus came along, we found that the Snapdragon 660 is slightly better than the Helio P60. While benchmarks show minor differences, we did not find any significant difference when it comes to day-to-day use with these two phones. Oppo's UI will take some time getting used to, and we are also annoyed by the two-step notification dismissal system that Oppo has used. The Nokia 7 Plus on the other hand feels like home. Now if you are an Android purist, you will like vanilla Android that is running on the 7 Plus. Battery performance is where we got different results from what we were expecting. The 7 Plus has the bigger 3800 mAh battery compared to the 3400 mAh battery on the Oppo F7. But it is the Oppo F7 that managed to clock 17 hours and 34 minutes compared to the 13 hour and 31 minute time on the Nokia 7 Plus. But this could be down to the fact that the 7 Plus has a brighter display which helps the Oppo clock a higher time. Performance for both the phones are good, and these phones will last you a day if you are into social media, messaging and a bit of gaming. At the same time, the 7 Plus gets the fast charger in the box, whereas for the Oppo F7 you have to deal with the standard 10-watt charger. When we compared the Oppo F7 to the Vivo V9, we were impressed by the camera performance of the smartphone, and we were curious how this would go up against the Nokia 7 Plus. Now for starters, the Oppo F7 has a 16 megapixel camera at the back, whereas the Nokia 7 Plus has a dual camera setup which consists of a 12 megapixel wide angle sensor and a 13 megapixel telephoto lens. Whereas on the front, the F7 has a 25 megapixel selfie shooter, while the 7 Plus gets a 16 megapixel selfie camera. I went ahead and shot a lot of photos with these two phones, and here are the results. We found that the 7 Plus manages to capture details better than the Oppo F7. When zooming into our sample shots, we saw that the 7 Plus is slightly better when it comes to color accuracy. Portrait mode is where it takes a bigger lead by putting the secondary camera to use, resulting in better edge detection and more usable shots. One other benefit the 7 Plus has over the Oppo is its 2x optical zoom capability, which can come really handy. Low light performance isn't great with either of these phones, but once again the 7 Plus seems to have the edge, delivering more consistent results with marginally better details. Both phones have Pro modes that let you alter camera settings before taking shots. The Oppo F7 has an Ultra HD mode that stitches 4 photos in quick succession to give you a single high-res image, while the Nokia 7 Plus has the BOTI feature that lets you use both the front and the rear cameras at the same time. The F7 boasts of AI assistance for selfie enhancement, while the 7 Plus just has a beautification mode. With its AI, the Oppo phone automatically sets the level of beautification, while the Nokia gives you a slider to tweak it manually. Overall, we like the mild enhancements that the 7 Plus made compared to the aggressive smoothing of the Oppo F7 software. The Nokia 7 Plus also edges ahead in terms of video recording and is capable of recording 4K video. Both contenders can shoot 1080p video, but the 7 Plus has electronic image stabilization, while the Oppo doesn't. While the Oppo F7 manages to beat the Vivo V9, it loses out to the Nokia 7 Plus. However, these phones aren't similarly priced. The 7 Plus commands a premium of 4000 rupees over a similarly spec'd Oppo F7, that is for the 4GB RAM and 64GB internal storage variant. Is it worth that much more? We think it is worth it thanks to its powerful hardware, premium build quality, stock software and a guarantee of updates for 2 years. Now the Oppo F7 has a 6GB RAM, 128GB storage variant which is priced much more closer to the 7 Plus, and it might be able to inch ahead of the 7 Plus when it comes to performance. But for all the other factors, the 7 Plus is still our preferred choice. Thanks for watching. For all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.